That's me, and that's my cake catapult. I have a lot to explain. This video was meant to be just a simple metaphor about what exactly makes games fun, but it somehow became a multi-month research project about the philosophy, psychology, and physiology of fun, where I analyzed 100 of my own games across 37 indicators, asked you guys what you find fun, then put it all to the test as I designed and built a cake launcher in my apartment, all for this moment. Let's go. Well, as with all fun things, we'll have to work our way up to it. This is... Alright, the philosophy of fun. You know, my first thought was that maybe someone already put together a full list of things that are scientifically fun. I could just list those and this video would be easy. But here I am, investigating fun in my own weird way. Look, it's the cake launchinator. Right, so the closest thing to a list would be frameworks that categorize desires. So if a game fulfills these desires, it could be more likely to be fun. For example, we got Schwartz's value theory, which asked over 60,000 people globally what's valuable to them. Some of these values are great for games, like the quest for achievement, power, self-direction, stimulation. I mean, under the definition of stimulation, which is excitement, novelty, and challenge, most games actually apply very well to that. But anyway, when you get things like benevolence, universalism, and conformity, which boy, I can't wait to open up GTA to conform and be benevolent. Yeah, I don't know if all of these values are describing fun per se, but I guess people roleplay as regular schmoes in GTA Online, so I guess that's a thing. And I was a full-time developer on a game called Golden Treasure, The Great Green, which is about surviving as a dragon hatchling. And that one is immersive and spiritual and tries to connect you with nature, thanks to the beautiful writing by Ludwig. So games can appeal to these deeper values in a fun way. So I did an analysis on all my games, and the results are in. All 10 of Schwartz's values correlate with how fun my games are, which is kind of impressive to me. Most obviously, games that are less stimulating are just less fun in general. In fact, I think excitement, novelty, and challenge, which is the definition of stimulating, are not only great reasons why games are fun, but it's also why I like developing games and practicing art in general. So to put this in practice, I impulse bought a bunch of wood for the first time, and I'm gonna build something because it's novel, and I'm excited for the challenge of turning this into something stimulating. I also checked if my games are more fun if they have 2 or 3 or 4 Schwartz values. And yeah, they are. Games having no Schwartz values, 0, averaged 1.6 out of 10 fun. That's a terrible score. Games having just 1 Schwartz value, rated 3.5 out of 10, not bad. And games that had 5 or more Schwartz values, averaged 6.5 stars. Yeah, I should probably mention I did not rate my own games very highly, so 6.5 stars is actually pretty good. You always gotta leave room for improvement, you know? All right, here's another framework called the Octalysis framework. It's meant to be a tool to gamify products, so it's super corporate and makes me question the actual research behind it, but that's why it's under the philosophy section. Again, a lot of it seems to just sound right. It says accomplishment is fun, creativity is fun, curiosity is fun. I mean, I think games appeal to all those things, yeah. So let's put it through the same test. The category that Octalysis seemed most accurate on was, strangely, scarcity and impatience. But it captures the idea that a game is more fun if it shows you up front what you could win. The drive to obsess over what we can see but cannot have. Laying out the expectations like this avoids confusion. And confusion is the enemy of fun. How's that for philosophy? In any case, just like Schwartz's framework, the more parts of Octalysis that a game has, the more fun it seems to be. In fact, every one of my games that had nothing on the Octalysis checklist were rated 1 out of 10 fun. The lowest possible score. So even if these philosophical frameworks are mostly marketing tools at this point, something does seem true about them. And I suspect that might be because of the underlying psychological frameworks behind them. The most esteemed psychological framework about fun is probably self-determinism theory. It's a collection of theories built up by many, many studies since the 1970s and 80s, and it identifies autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy, where's he going? Get back here. What are you doing? Autonomy clearly likes feeling like it has control, like its decisions have an impact and they matter. Autonomy also likes being creative. As you can probably imagine, autonomy likes open world games, sim games, things that make you say, yeah, I caused this. I think games with level editors are really appealing to autonomy, but I haven't really made any games with level editors. There are, of course, my 2D Minecraft games, which very much appeal to autonomy because the player is in total control over what to do next. But the only other game I made where you manipulate a level in a relatively autonomous way is Bouncers. It's one of my first games, made in 2008. You can even autonomously decide which song plays in the background. But it's really simple. You just drag these walls around the screen to prevent the bouncing balls from colliding with the red barriers. Most of the levels you can just cheese by trapping the ball in the corner, but honestly that kind of feels like you're outsmarting the game, which makes autonomy happy. The best designed level is this one, where it kind of forces you to play Pong to win. Autonomy is a huge reason why I like making games and music and art in general. It just feels incredible to be able to create whatever I want. And the cool thing about autonomy is, even if a game doesn't provide you with any control or freedom, the simple choice to play the game in the first place is your autonomous decision. So I'm going to choose to let this cake generator decide my fate. I made this when I was like 12. Welcome to Cake Maker. Your cake is ready. Hooray! Yeah. All right, I never baked a cake before, so I'm kind of excited to let this decide what I'll make. Here we go. Ooh. So we got vanilla. We got chocolate inside, frosting, sprinkles. Yep, makes sense to me. I never baked a cake before, so I'm excited. Competence. It loves to get smarter.
Better, faster, stronger.
So technically competence is supposed to be an internal realization, but games try to trick us into feeling competent all the time, using things like leaderboards, achievements, stats, difficulty, leveling. But as long as it feels earned, it still works. A couple years back, I released my collector's bundle, which is a collection of my best games. The one thing they all have in common is that they have achievements, and you can track all of your achievements in one place, which ends up feeling pretty good. It's designed to reward the ultimate feeling of competence by the end, but hey, no one actually completed it yet, so I guess some achievements are simply too hard. On that note, I'd say one important thing about competence in games is that it's so easy to accidentally invoke a sense of incompetence, which can obviously feel demotivating. Okay, first of all, turns out 2x4s are actually 1.5s by 3.5s. So now I have to go back and redo the designs a little bit, but part of the learning process. But second of all, I thought this battery-powered drill would be able to work, but it's just so weak. I tried to use a manual screwdriver for it, but that was also nearly impossible. So then I got a real drill for grown-ups. It's time for me to do it the right way, right? And then right after that, I broke the bit already. I was truly learning the hard way. I powered through. It all hinges on this. In terms of competence, some games are much more straightforward, like Super Hexagon. You get better, you get further. Competence is super easy to quantify just by how long you avoid the obstacles. The earliest competence-related game design trick I remember learning is about how arcade games often add extra zeros to your score to make it feel more impressive. The earliest pinball machines back in the 1930s, if you remember back then, had static scores in the tens of thousands, even though like a score of 10 would have been exactly the same thing. It was all to trick our minds. Now Wikipedia says this is why pinball machines were nicknamed Máquinas del Millón in Spanish, but I'm pretty sure that nickname is actually due to people generalizing the early pinball machine in Spain called Millón. Wikipedia. Out of my own stuff, games with large score multipliers or extra zeros were on average ranked just 10% higher than games with uninflated scoring. But yeah, competence! It makes skill feel good. The third and final motivator of the self-determinism theory is relatedness. Relatedness here loves feeling emotional comfort, community, and social attachment. So co-op games like It Takes Two appeal a lot to relatedness because you're working together to conquer tasks. But it doesn't have to be multiplayer games. Moments where you're taking care of your village and Animal Crossing can absolutely feel equally comforting. You'd sacrifice everything for these guys, wouldn't you? Out of my own games, well, surprisingly, my games that appeal to relatedness actually are less fun than my average game. Go figure. But one interesting one in this category is called Left and Right. It was extremely simple. It was just a single text field where you and a friend over the internet have control over a different side of the keyboard. It was really funny to see what random stuff we'd end up typing together. Zanzlands is a political gumball. I really eat a lot of Kraft dinner with the side of undercooked lemons. Here are the specific letters that I wrote in green. Game development in itself is difficult, as an understatement, but it kind of makes it all worth it when you see people enjoying your game. It literally makes the work fun in the end, and I'd say that's thanks to relatedness. But yeah, I don't know. Self-determinism theory still feels too abstracted, just like the more philosophical ones that we were looking at earlier, even if it is technically backed by more studies. So no, I think I can only be satisfied with an answer to what is fun by investigating what exactly is happening in my brain when I experience something fun. Turns out, we have brains, sometimes referred to as the most complex structure in the known universe. But a lot of it is driven by neurochemicals and specific processes that we share with our rodent friends and our monkey friends, and they've been researched a lot. Here are the areas of the brain called the reward center. A bunch of areas light up when you're having fun, but ultimately, the nucleus accumbens and the orbitofrontal cortex are the ones coming up with the prediction about how much value you're actually experiencing. If it's exactly as valuable as your brain expected it to be, then you're probably not even having fun at all. But if something is surprisingly valuable, then dopamine is released, which adds meaning to your active memory and makes it a lot more likely for you to do whatever you're doing again in the future. That's why doing the same thing over and over again isn't really fun. Unfortunately, this specific brain system is exploited all the time in chance-based games like slot machines and loot boxes. The dopamine release reinforces that gambling behavior, even when the activity is no longer fun or meaningful. But in normal gaming, you'll experience this all the time. In my own games, I usually use random chance to create unique environments or puzzles. For example, in my game Broken Cloud from 2011, flying through a cloud gives you a chance to encounter a cloud diamond, which are valuable. So by the end, the game will very likely inspire you to aim for the clouds, even if they slow you down a bit. That sounded poetic, but it's just the game. I believe all that's due to the dopamine loop though, which makes it a powerful tool for game design. But this all begs the question, what does the brain even think is valuable? Well, brains like the taste of sugar. That's kind of the go-to reward in science, to study the reward system. But yeah, the nucleus accumbens can react to so many things. Problem solving, meaningful social interactions, awe-inspiring visuals, satisfying stories, the absence of stress, and baking soda. Not baking soda, that's just to make the cake. Maybe that one represents noradrenaline, a neurochemical released during surprising moments that make you enjoy the reward more. Eating chocolate, just like many rewarding things, releases endorphins, just like exercise. Wild mice were found to enjoy running on exercise wheels that were placed in the wild. So we can just kind of assume that they're having fun. Also, slugs were caught using the exercise wheels. Make of that what you will. In terms of actual brain anatomy, I kind of reached a dead end there. However, there's one physical reaction that I noticed that is pretty strongly linked to primal human enjoyments. Chills. About roughly half of humans experience chills regularly in response to pretty specific things. Stuff like specific moments in music, beautiful art and scenery, emotional poetry, and even the solving of a math problem. But for some of you, math probably makes you shudder for a different reason. But don't worry, I'm making a cake, not pie. But yeah, chills are weird. They're unique to each person, just like fun is unique to each person. I mean, you might enjoy a game more than someone else would. People even enjoy horror games, which can absolutely be chilling, but your prefrontal cortex knows that you're safe. So even when you're terrified, your brain ultimately marks it as thrilling, which is a form of fun. It's kind of beautiful how the full human experience of fun is uniquely personal to you and to me. I mean, just look at all the different reasons that you guys find games fun. A lot of it matches what we talked about, but also a lot of it is abstract and very personal. The way your brain values experiences makes you unique, and what gives us chills is our form of purpose. And let me tell you, standing here at the end of this long project, I'm feeling it. The autonomy to start this project, the competence to learn new things, and the relatedness of our shared experience of fun, and the incoming dopamine rush of an impending reward prediction of sugar, of course. This moment is my metaphor of fun, and all I have to do is pull this release cord, but my mind is racing. This is it! Over a month of work! Man, when I pull this, it's gonna make such a loud sound and all my neighbors will hear. Oh gosh. What if I don't catch the cake? I have to catch the cake. It'd be such a mess if I missed. Such a waste. I have to catch the cake. Pull the release cord. Come on. Say let's go and pull it. Let's go. Yes! Hey, this is for you, Crystal, Eddie, Gary, Elixir of Will, ZZOX, and Max S. Thanks for being my patrons. Also, it's September 3rd, my birthday.